I'm of two minds about the filibuster. I have wanted to get rid of the filibuster for a long time. This is the way that political parties, Democrats and Republicans, hide what their agenda is. And it gives them the excuse. It sort of functions in the same way the IDC did in New York State, which is like, I wanted to vote for, the PRO Act, but, we should definitely, cut every department, whatever it is, but, the filibuster, that type of thing. Here is Steve Bannon. Now, one of and I imagine you have a similar notion of this. I think Trump is going to use Mamdani's win as a predicate. He would have done it anyways, but he's going to use it as a predicate to send federal troops into New York City. On top of which, I got to think that they're very nervous about the results across the country and the Democratic sweeps here, because what is the opportunity to win in the midterms for them? Like, it's narrowed significantly in terms of like what these numbers show. And with California passing Prop 50 and Maryland saying they're going to redistrict, and this sort of like the Democrats redistricting is going to mitigate some of what the Republicans are doing, and the Republicans redistricting in an environment like we see now could very well end up costing them more seats than it gains them, right? Because they have to dilute their plus 15 seats to go down to like a plus 7, and all of a sudden
Texas with the Latino vote, if it flips in the way it did in Jersey, they're asking.
They're going to lose seats in Texas after this redistricting. So there's going to be, I don't know if it's Miller or Vote or whomever, there's going to be some panic because Democrats controlling one or two of the houses in Congress is definitely like an obstacle to their agenda. You can't completely stop them, but you can make it much more difficult. Here's Steve Bannon basically articulating that, calling for the Senate to get rid of a filibuster so that they can actually get into the getaway car and get going before the midterms.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not going to stop. They're getting more and more and more radical. And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive order. Right? We have to codify it. And people say, well, they're just going to be messing bills. Senate. We got to put aside these structural barriers and get on with it. President Trump today gave to the Senate when they came over for breakfast. Even Lindsey Graham, some of the guys he liked, and some of these institutions, I understand. This is a very tough decision to make. And you're going to see some people in the conservative movement that not in a million years, because I talked to him today, quite frankly, I had Hawley on the show this morning, Josh Hawley, and he's talking about it, and I'm trying to play the institution. Well, they called me up this afternoon and said, let's go through the 10 reasons we need to do it, and these are heavy hitters on what I would call the constitutional, the limited government constitutionalist in our movement. And they're about to come out over the next couple of days and make this argument because it said, look, we have to understand that if we don't take this to the maximum, a maximalist strategy now with a sense of urgency, and in doing this, seize the institutions. If we don't do that now, we're going to lose this chance forever because you're never going to have another Trump, right? You're just not going to.
Starting from the end, working forward, I remember, a couple of years ago where Bannon was like, Trump is just the beginning of this. Well, this is a real movement and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. I think he knows, we are watching sort of three-quarters maximalist type of situation here. They thought things were going to go better at this point, and things are going sideways for Trump. And so he knows this is it. This is the opportunity, because the blowback from this hopefully will be huge. So I don't know, where are you on this? Because if they get rid of the filibuster, there's a lot of stuff they can do. If I was them, that's what I would do. I would get rid of the filibuster, because this could be their big last bite at the apple. But it's going to mean the next 11 or 12 months is going to be we're going to be at peak authoritarianism, peak brutality by ICE, peak, we're going to see really, really radical stuff over the next 12 months, I think.
Agree with you. If I were them, I'd be saying the same thing as Bannon is saying up there. And it does go to show that he's not as confident that this is going to be a 50-year, permanent majority, as he was before. And part of it is a significant reason for that is that they're wrecking the economy, and unnecessarily and deliberately. They took over a growing and, pretty solid economy. A lot of people suffering in it, but relative to where it's been over the decades, it was going well. And through the chaotic policies, how many, hundreds of thousands of, federal workers, undone, tariffs put on, taken off, put on, taken off, putting, enormous numbers of businesses out of business. Now they might get overturned entirely. We don't see the BLS data because the government is shut down. But the word, from the private people who are counting this is that you're seeing job losses that we haven't seen in 20 years. Mortgage interest rates are still high. The one thing he's got is that the Fed is probably going to cut rates, but that's only because he keeps undermining the strength of the economy. If that goes on for another year, the Senate is really in play. I think if Republicans if they lose the House and keep the Senate, that's maybe even better for them, because then they can 2 years from now blame Democrats for whatever they're doing. But they could even lose the Senate. Iowa is in one of the worst depressions that it's been in.
Yep.
Patola is up a couple of points in the, we're way out from the election, but in Alaska.
Yep.
I personally think that Plattner is going to beat Janet Mills, and I think it's going to beat Susan Collins by even more than he will beat Janet Mills, frankly.
Yeah. That gets you 50. Yeah.
Yep.
And then maybe Sherrod Brown. It's a tough call. North Carolina, is North Carolina up? I think North Carolina is up.
Roy Cooper.
Yeah, Roy Cooper's running in North Carolina. I mean, there's opportunity for that to be eked out in some fashion, and
frankly, I think that the Republicans are made a mistake by not Marjorie Taylor Greene versus Ossoff. Who are they running? Another college football coach? I mean, it's just insane. I'm pretty sure they are. It's just they're tripling down on more establishment Republicans at a time where the base is not that interested in that.
Yeah, she's going to be out there. She's going to take a huge chunk out of that guy in Georgia because she's so mad that she didn't get Trump's blessing. I mean, talk about I hate to be a little bit hackneyed here, but she's scorned and she is taking it out on him. In a big way. But let's get into
seen that coming. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She seems such a stable
Yeah, I've always thought of her and Nancy Mace as the two people you could always count on.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yes.
Well, I mean, she was praising Nancy Pelosi on CNN yesterday.
Yeah, I'm an
Marjorie
MTG
Taylor Greene
fan lately. That's for sure.
Yeah. She's really trying to make herself seem less radical and insane.
I knew she would get dunked on by the right for that, but what she said about Pelosi, she was clear. She's like, I'm just talking about her effectiveness. She's good at getting stuff done. And as somebody who is critical of what Pelosi got done a lot of the time, I'll say that she had incredible tactical and strategic political skills.
She
when it
never
came to
lost a vote.
running.
She would never bring a vote to the floor that she wasn't going to win.
But like, just compare that to Marjorie Taylor Greene running around the halls of Congress, seemingly a little drunk. I don't know if that's the case, and opening AOC's mail slot and going, "Hey, Sandy, hey," or whatever. Like, she's trying to make herself seem less insane, and it seems like
she's doing a good job, but
she's doing a good job. Unfortunately,
pretty easy to come down from that.
True.
You can, that can turn on a dime. So obviously, and we're going to talk more about the tariffs next week on the program. And the Lutnick sons, Uday and Kusei, I think is their name. They are primed to make, I want to say millions, but I feel like there could be a B associated with this, because they bought up all of those sort of like, tariff
IOUs,
recoupment coupons. And I think the Supreme Court, there are two areas where the Supreme Court is going to protect, and that's going to be the Fed, and it's going to be their buddies who are, standing to lose because of the tariffs. So we'll see about that. But I want to also touch
the Witkoff boys out there scraping Bitcoin from every tin pot dictator around the country.
I mean, the amount of enrichment by, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people who are, it's just, I think we're never going to fully understand the size of this sort of like extraction. But, and it's weird that it's almost like a secondary or third issue. Like, oh yeah, no, they're robbing everybody blind. But that's actually not the biggest problem that we have.
Right.
It's the authoritarianism. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.